Madam, and we'll now go to Mr. Hoback, 5 minutes.
Well, thank you, gentlemen, and thanks for coming in front of the committee. And I agree with Ms. Barroso. It's nice to have you here and talk about some of the challenges you faced in December and January. But the reality is those challenges are going to be something that you've faced in previous years and years to come. And there's also some new realities that are starting to show up in Western Canada. You've seen a couple of potash mines coming into factor. You've seen more crude oil coming in, and you know that's going to increase because if we don't see a pipeline, it's going to move by oil. So when I hear the arguments that you don't need more locomotives, I disagree with you. In fact, the capacity is the issue here. Even when it's cold, sure, you shorten the trains. I understand that. I used to drive Super Bs at my farm, so I understand how air brakes work. But what you can do is you can put more smaller trains on them. So you need more locomotives to handle that capacity. And reality is you went and laid off, I'm going off the notes from the Alberta Federation of Agriculture, 4,500 employees, and reduced your service, by 400 locomotives and 2,700 rail cars. And yet you say you've got enough to handle going forward. Well, I don't see how you can do that or say that when BHP Billiton's coming on. When I see the other potash mine in southern Saskatchewan coming into play, we're going to start growing more corn, which is 4 times the volume of wheat. All this stuff is going to have to move by rail. So where's your vision? And then when I get really excited when you say that you've got the capacity today, you've never had the capacity. When I was farming in 2000 to 2004, we always had issues of the trains not showing up on time. Now you'd blame the wheat board or somebody else, but reality is you never had the capacity then. So I look at this and I say now, because I go back to my farmers, it's costing them money. We've seen the basis in wheat widen from $45 or $25 to $80. Why don't you pay that basis widening? Because it's your fault that it's widening. Now you talk about the increase in volume. I give you that. But you know what? You haven't kept up from year to date of what you should be moving. The increase in volume would tack on to the end. So when you're saying in August when you had a slow season, you're parking cars, that's when that increase in volume would have kid in. But it's not. So when you say you've moved more grain, maybe you have moved more grain. But have you delivered more? That's the question I ask. Because I was in Vancouver with the International Trade Committee, and I seen the ships sitting out in the harbor. They're there. And when I talk to my farmers who got oats, for example, they've got their little inland elevator filled. They've got cars filled sitting on their spur, and they're waiting for you guys to move them. Meanwhile, Scandinavia is shipping oats from Northern Europe into our markets in the U.S. So explain it to me. Who should be accountable? Who should be financially accountable for this? I think it's you, but do you disagree?
I mean, in terms of growing capacity, I mean, as I said, we've added locomotives from last year, and we've just ordered a bunch more locomotives. So I mean, we certainly we absolutely are taking it seriously.
Let's go to CP then. Like you went and did the opposite. Like maybe that's efficient. Maybe you're running efficiency at the low cycle, but when you get any type of bump, you can't handle it.
Well, I'll have to disagree with you because we had record levels of demand placed on us in the fall between September and November, and we did handle it. And that same fleet is still there. We're challenged now because of this extreme, and I think I said...
Did you handle it? I'm going to stop you there. You handled it for a couple of months, and then coal come in, potash come in, everything else comes in there. You can't handle it all. You can juggle it for a month or two, but you can't juggle it for a long period of time.
We handle it right through the period, September through November. So it was 3 months until, well, that's the first 3 months of the demand that we were placed with. We also were faced with declining potash volumes during that same period.
Yeah, so you can handle more grain.
And we did.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But now you've got grain, you've got potash, because to talk to the potash guys, they're upset too now because they're not getting their product delivered. I got a lumber mill up at Hudson Bay that's going to go down to 3 days a week. I've got a steel mill in Regina. All this stuff is starting to trickle back, not only in the grain sector, but to other areas, because you're not taking seriously the growth that's going on in Western Canada. No, and you're actually going to do severe damage to the Western Canadian economy unless you smarten up.
I'll look at it completely differently and disagree with you.
You look at it from your shareholders' perspective. I respect that. But look at it from the customers and what's going on in Western Canada. You haven't done that. If I asked you today, how are you going to move the volume that you've lost before road bans hit or before flooding in Red River Valley, how are you going to do it? You don't have the capacity. Are you going to move stuff up from the U.S.? And the next question is, how many cars that belong to the Canadian government are actually down in the U.S. right now moving grain in the U.S.?
Are we ready to go, or? Okay. Yeah, I gather.
I mean, we've moved cars up from the U.S. We're not moving cars to the U.S. We've moved cars in the other direction to handle the crop. I mean, a lot of this is very competitive business. I mean, the potash business is extremely competitive business. I mean, so we're not. I mean, the fact that it's backed up is the reality that we're facing in the last couple of months. But believe me, I mean, we're not going to skimp on assets and lose that market share. There's too much in it for us.